I was about to say, can you hear me?
There you go. What's up, bro?
You can hear me okay?
I can hear you, man. You good.
All right, cool.
Yeah, man. I was, hold on, let me make sure. We ain't muted. Hold on. We muted. All right.
Beats Planet.
Listen, man, I ain't finna let these goofy little I Am Legend monsters run the streets out here. I ain't finna let these goofy little perpetrating bottom feeders out here, you know what I'm saying, come in and bust open the Schifferow and mess up the rotation. You know what I mean? Not gonna be able to do it. It's Voch Lombardi up in here. I'm trying to expand my repertoire. You know what I mean? I'm normally offensive guy. Akoye Media, I just told them off air, but I want to tell them, and just while everybody's tuned in, watching and listening right now, I'm in so much trust of him. You know what I mean? Like when it come to draft season, I call Fuster King because I know I can go in deep water with Fuster King. I can talk about some kids from some damn junior college, and Fuster have an answer for me. Fuster have an answer for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but in terms of what I see on defense, I call Akoye media because I understand, and I'm up here saying stuff, and I may doubt myself a little bit because I'm mostly offensive guy, you know what I mean? And I'm up here like, yeah, man, this is really a bad matchup. Like, I don't think we really played that bad on defense.
No,
While everybody's saying we did bad on defense, but I'm double guessing myself. And I watch Akoye media, as all y'all should do, and Akoye media saying all the same stuff I'm saying, He like, well, we wasn't that bad on defense. I'm like, damn. Let's go live real quick before the fights come on, before the battle rap come on, before college football get too thick. Let's go live and talk to our people. Akoye media, what's happening, sir?
What's good? What's good, man? Appreciate you having me, Voch. But yeah, I concur, man. Also, shout outs to Foots the King on that NCAA knowledge. He is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to football in general, too. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I was just saying to you off air that maybe I should have watched even more film before I did the first video, the Jalen video, because people are under the misconception that I was thinking that Jalen is only a 2-down or 1-down linebacker, like a pass rush specialist. And what I was saying is that on the first 2 downs, if you keep bodies off of him, he can flow to the ball just fine. Sure. And on that 3rd down, he shouldn't be in coverage situations. He should be in pass rush situations most of the time on 3rd down, unless he's just falling back into a hot lane or something like that. Yeah. That's how I see him being used on 3 downs, not get him off the field on 3rd down or 1st and 2nd. I don't think he's a liability at all. When it comes to that, if you're asking him to play in space and change directions, and you know that he has drop foot and a bad knee, then that's on you. Don't ask him to do that.
Right. It's all about
how would Aldon Smith look if you put him at middle linebacker and asked him to play sideline to sideline? He wouldn't look that good, would he?
It's all about situational stuff, man. And I always say this, Akoye, I hate to answer questions directly after the game. You know what I mean? Because I'm answering questions from people that have watched the game one time. They may have been drinking. They may have been eating and texting. They may have been doing something. They may have took a bathroom break, and they may have missed something. Yeah. And if you only saw one play of Tristan Hill going backwards or sideways, you would think Tristan had a bad game.
Man, Tristan had a hell of a game.
Tristan played well.
Hell of a game.
He played.
He got launched one time, but that's because he jumped.
He was in the air. He was in the air.
Yeah, he was in the air. He was in the air. They tell you don't leave your feet.
My biggest takeaway is, pardon me, the one thing that made the Cowboys look really bad in the first half was they wasn't very patient. And that could be because of new scheme thing. One thing I give you plenty credit for. The one thing that you the one word that you said stuck out to me was old habits. You was talking about old habits. I'm going to let you elaborate in 20 seconds. Old habits. We are so used to going upfield and firing and chasing and crashing and, turning our shoulders if we backside and trying to chase down or whatever. Yep. That's not what this defense is. And to be fair, we've only played this defense for 4 quarters, to where if we're a lot more patient, we make a lot more plays. And if you see in the second half, we got a lot more patient. We stopped shooting upfield. We started to take a step, get our hands up. D-Law batted pass down. Alden almost got one, but Everson batted a pass down, right? Yep. And then once we did that, Jared Goff turned into a passer. Once he turned into a passer, that's when we got pass rush. Talk to me about some of the things you were seeing, sir.
Yeah, same exact thing, man. The thing that I remember when I used to, one of my favorite players was DeMarcus Ware. So I remember watching that Hard Knocks year where Parcells was teaching how to come down the line, sort of straddled up, like with your shoulders squared up with the end zone rather than turning your hips horizontally. Right. On when you're playing 3-4, you have to come down the line, peek inside, but don't turn inside if you're going to chase that run on the back end. And when you see in the beginning of the game, whether it was front side or back side, doesn't matter if it was Alden or D-Law, they both were doing it. They both were converging either on the running back or the quarterback immediately, trying to read. And it was like beginning of the game, jitters and inexperience. Alden's been out for 5 years, so he gets that credit. He adjusted in the second half and did it right. And D-Law has never done this, so he gets that credit. And D-Law's claim to fame has always been crashing inside to the B-gap anyway and just wreaking havoc on his way to the quarterback and or inside run. Right. But he's used to having a linebacker out there that has outside contained outside of him. He's usually not the guy, right? So he can run around like a wild man. In this case, he can't do that anymore. When those wide receivers start jet sweeping, and you'll see that in the video that I'm working on now, because I'm working on the secondary video. But when you see those wide receivers start jet sweeping now in the second half, you're allowed to hit them.
Yeah.
You're allowed to hit them. So I took footage from Jared Goff's worst game, which was against Chicago last year, and I took footage from this game that we just played, and I showed what Khalil Mack and Floyd were able to do when they were more patient versus those short exchanges and misdirection, jet sweeps, so on. When you see in the screen passes too, the way they handled it is exactly how we handled it the second half, and that's the way you're supposed to play it in a 3-4 scheme. Sure. And when we did it perfectly, I think we actually played a little bit better than Chicago in the second half. When you look at how we were able to do it, we were getting hands on balls. Chicago was just running and tackling, but they still held Jared Goff to a pretty bad game. I think it was just the first half, and you'll pay attention to this too. They picked on they went at, I don't want to say picked on, they went at Diggs twice, and those are only 2 passes that we gave up above 15 yards that were actually traveled in the air above 15 yards. Yeah. Other than that, it was catch and run, short screens, hitch routes, and they were running for those 20 to 15 yard plays. They didn't throw the ball in the air only twice. Well, they did it 4 times. They had 2 completions. One was a incompletion where Darian Thompson got there because I believe Joe Thomas got a hit on Goff. The other one, he tried to hit number 12. I don't remember his name, Jackson, I think, on the outside against Brown, and Brown just got there late and dislodged it or whatever. But other than that, we gave up 2 passes beyond 15 to 20 yards. Sure. That's it.
And that's good day on defense. That's not a terrible day on defense.
One more thing I want to say to you. Go ahead. This is the key stat that should shut everybody the hell up. We gave up 20 points, right?
Right.
But how many times did they cross the 50 on us? We got an interception. I don't believe that was across the 50. So let's take that one out. Right. But they were in our red zone or across the 50 or close to our red zone 5 times. 5 times we gave up 2 field goals, 1 missed, and 2 touchdowns. That's not that bad. That could have easily been a blowout. Yeah. Easily, if our defense let up when we got in the red zone. So I don't know what else you want. Like the defense wasn't giving it up down. They didn't give up any big plays really. Sure. The one big play they gave up was against a rookie when he was pressing 1-on-1 outside. He was on an island. He had no help, and he pressed, and he decided to press. Had he played off just a little bit or just bailed instead of play physical on that play, I think he would have had enough momentum to stay over the top of that, and he would have broke that up. That was the difference between those inches.
Oh,
on that
but Akoye, we gonna get there and talk about these. But Diggs' ass can cover though, man.
Oh yeah,
Diggs' little ass. We gonna get there.
No knock on him. He flat out covered lights out. Or even on that play he gave up, that was lights out coverage to me. But I just said a little joke like, hey, if you're gonna say Anthony Brown and them is bad for just missing plays, you got to give it to Diggs too on that one. He just missed it, but it was cool.
But you know what though, Cowboys fans kind of been the opposite though. The past few days, like everybody on defense could get the same criticism, but they wanted to isolate what's his face? Darian Thompson. Like
Darian Thompson played a good game.
Darian Thompson played fine. But when people watch the game one time drunk and don't watch film again, that's just what they walk away with. Darian Thompson wasn't terrible. He was actually flying around. He
was the one guy hitting shit. Like he was flying and hitting shit. So I like him.
We'll get there. Yeah. I wanted to finish up on a D line though, because there's a lot to talk about in terms of D. We had a lot of looks up front, like a lot of different looks, and at some point, probably in my next film week, I'm gonna break down some of the different looks. It was a lot of 4-3, it was a lot of 3-4, but it was 3-4 that looked like 4-3. It was nickel that looked like 4-3. It was a lot of little extra stuff that we got into. I think what our NASCAR package is gonna be. There was this one look where Alden was to the outside. D-Law was also outside standing up, and it was 2-3 ticks, and it was like Crawford and Griffin. Griffin was the other 3. Alden got a hit on one of them. It was a gap exchange on the backside or whatever. But I think that's gonna be their idea of a NASCAR type of deal. Just no 1s, 2 3s, and just the 2 outside guys. You can talk about that a little bit.
I saw that. I think that was the stunt that Alden caught inside where that's what forced the interception.
Yeah, got
that
hit
was
on
that play.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Alden got that hit on that play. I like Crawford in those situations. Crawford should be there as a 3-tech in those nickel obvious passing downs. I didn't like Crawford have as much versus the run, but I did like that formation, and you just hit it right on the head. They had so many different sub packages. That was another thing that you don't really pay attention to when you're watching the game live. You like you said, might be drunk, might be in the bathroom, or just from that broadcast view, you can't quite tell who's
Mhm.
out there because I didn't even know Neville Gallimore got on the field until I watched the film
Yeah.
because I couldn't see him
Right.
and he wasn't in there for long stretches. But the other thing that kind of switched up in the second half was where we put Dontari Poe.
Yeah.
We stopped putting Poe in the middle and we used them like they were using BJ Raji
B gap.
and Mike Daniels. Yep, we put
Mm-hmm.
him in the B out there rather than putting him in the middle and let Woods play middle.
Right.
And once we did that, we forced the Rams into predictability because nobody's going to run towards Dontari Poe and
Sure.
DeMarcus Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do it? So automatically we can predict where the run was going to go, and we were able to shift the teeth of our defense to that weak side because we can trust those two to hold up on the front side. So
Right.
because of that, we knew where the ball was going in the second half when they ran in obvious running situations. We knew, and we were able to make them a little more predictable because of what you said, like those sub packages. So yeah, I agree with you. But I think that now that we kind of understand what works versus what, you'll start to see us use less of them. Right now, I think they were just trying to throw things out there to throw enough paint against the wall to see what sticks, so to speak.
I think we're actually better versus the run in our 3-4 looks because it's weird because we got more bodies on the field. But we got just as much athleticism, you know what I mean? Because our outside line, and this is another example too. This is another advantage I said on my video the other day too. Is I think we have a weird advantage in our 3-4 looks because our outside linebackers ain't small. You know what I mean?
No.
So if you look at like a regular outside linebacker, right? Leonard Floyd to be exact, like cool. He's like what, like 250 or something or whatever.
Yeah.
If that.
Somewhere.
He
like Randy Gregory. He's like a carbon copy. Yeah.
He is what you think a 3-4 outside linebacker would look like. What I noticed was the Rams treated Aldon Smith like he was a linebacker because he was standing. So they kept putting a bunch of tight ends on him. They kept trying to block him with tight ends or like doubling with tight ends. But Aldon Smith 280. You know what I'm saying? So I think we have an advantage. If they try to block us with small guys just because we linebackers, those are really DN standing. What you think about that?
Well, I love that. That's why I was screaming 3-4 so long before, because I feel like we have Tank Lawrence, who is already like 270, 275, and then you got Alden, who's 280. But the key to it is you got guys in the middle, multiple guys who can take double teams. So Tristan came in, was holding up double teams, and so was Dontari Poe and Neville when he got in there. Crawford couldn't really deal with the doubles too much. They were crashing them from the backside and like just blindsiding them and knocking them out of those gaps. But those bigger guys that were like 300 pounds that were in there, they were able to suck up blocks. And what that left on the outside was tight ends and running backs trying to block your bona fide defensive end pass rushers who are usually dealing with left tackles and right tackles. They don't have to deal with that as much because, the way we were spreading them out. With those three guys in the middle anchoring, if two of those guys can anchor down 2 men, it's only 5 men on your offensive line. That third guy is going to take that guy out too. So you're going to need your full offensive line to block those 3 down linemen in the 3-4. You're going to need your offensive line to do that, which frees up the outside, and it gives you an exchange on wheel routes or releases, chip and releases when it comes to the backside. So it gives an option to those outside linebackers is what I mean. You'll see like Khalil Mack, sometimes you can tell he's supposed to blitz or supposed to rush, and he doesn't because a running back might release across his face and he sees it might be screen or something like that, or a wide receiver might be in a slot, but you want to stay in your base formation, and he'll just step out there and press that guy and reroute him before he goes into the quarterback or whatever. And that gives us that option when we're playing 3-4. So I love it because of that, because those 3 guys that are in the middle, we had guys like, I thought Crawford would play better, and I think he will eventually, because I look at him as a 3-4 guy more so than 4-3, but he's been in the 4-3 getting upfield for so long. He's training different in the off season. You know what I mean? Right. He was training different in the off season because he was training to be faster, sleeker, and more of a pass rusher under Rod Marinelli. Whereas when he came in the league, he was asked to be a 3-4 outside guy. So he would have been eating more, probably getting more stout rather than trying to be nimble. And I think he just has to learn to sit back down, because when he sat down, he played better. But those guys in the middle can anchor this defense because they can suck up so many blocks. And it's really like a lot of it's like those in the 3-4, your defensive linemen that are down, they're not really rushing. They're two gapping, but it's more like blocking
Sure.
because they're really trying to keep your
Whole
line
guys up at the line of scrimmage. Yeah.
level. Yep. Keep them off of Jalen and keep them off of LV or Joe Thomas and let those guys streak in there. And when we're doing that, it's 100%. There's nothing you can really do against it.
Shocking enough, Tristan Hill was really good at that. I got
Very good.
I got a comment. Change the narrative. He says y'all missing the point. Defense has to have 3 and outs. They did. Once they got settled down, they did. Yeah. there were 3 and outs once they figured this thing out. Yeah.
Yeah, what you think happened in the second half? What did you think happened in the second half when we only gave up 7 points? There had to be a lot of 3 and outs there, right?
Yeah. 0 on the 4th. Anyway, what you have to say to these bottom feeders that say that they don't want D-Law on the team anymore? He should go. We should sign Alden and release DeMarcus Lawrence for the $15 million that he's making. Go ahead, sir.
I'm saying if you're not paying him, why do you care about what this man makes? I don't get it. We keep arguing about money.
You know how they go, man.
Play.
You know how it go,
but
man.
When you look at D-Law's game, I watched this game closely too. Not for that reason.
Yeah.
I watched him because he's expected, because he's a leader on his team. He's expected to do more, not because he's paid more, but because he's just been here longer, and he touts himself as a top pass rusher and a top player in his league. And if you're going to say that, then you have to show it on film. So if you're talking from that narrative or that perspective, I look at D-Law's game as he was a hustler this game, and I think his hustle goes unnoticed a lot. There was a screen pass that you should look at against it went against Jalen, but LVE got cut up on this play, and trailing behind that was D-Law. If you look at that play again, that's a touchdown or a very long play had D-Law not been the way he is, meaning he chases everything down from the back end. He's relentless. So, and then he knocked down a few passes too, even though he couldn't get there. And then I watched a couple of pretty good pass rushes from him when he was able to just come down and he had the opportunity to do it.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with D-Law yet. I say the question mark is still out. I'm not looking to push him off of a plank though. I think D-Law. Why would you want to get rid of D-Law when you have Everson Griffin, D-Law, and Alden and Randy Gregory? You know what I mean?
I think they ran away from him. Like most of their runs were going left, and when they did go right, they thought they were picking on Dorrance. Dorrance did well too.
Right.
But yeah, so what do you want D-Law to do if they're running away from? That was somebody. That was this cat. There was a cat in my comment section talking about he's unsubbing to my channel now. Holla at you. But he was like whatever. But he was like yeah, man, D-Law gotta go. He's terrible. I'm like, fam, they ran away from him. What you want him to do? Well, Voch, that has nothing to do with the pressure. He should get more pressure. When they throwing screens and the boots and waggles, what you want him to do? What you want him to do?
But that's what you see when you got guys who, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody's football knowledge, but anybody can go out here and watch, this film if you want to watch it. It's not like it's illegal. So watch the film if you really want to assess these players. Otherwise, you're arguing from an emotional standpoint. And I ain't here to argue nobody's emotions because you're allowed to have whatever emotional opinion you formed.
But when you're wrong, you're wrong.
But when you're wrong, you're wrong. A fact is still a fact. Facts ain't feelings, man.
Right.
Facts ain't feelings, and feelings ain't facts.
Fair
Get that out your mouth.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the linebackers for a little bit, man. You had a long soliloquy about Jalen, and I just kind of wanted you to bring that to my audience real fast, man. And so now you got time to do it. It ain't like a short video or nothing like that.
I have to first off, I want to set things straight for a lot of the people who watch my video. I just ran out of time to speak. The film, as far as I'm concerned, I think Jalen played okay. What I was trying to get to, because someone actually got me to do that breakdown on Jalen because they said he's only a 2-down linebacker. And I said, no. He's a 3-down linebacker. He's not a 2-down linebacker. And when I said he's not, I didn't mean he's a 3rd-down specialist. That's what they thought I was saying. Jalen should be, in my opinion, like you just said, one of those outside linebacker Leonard Floyd types. I think Jalen coming downhill brings a lot more pressure on the quarterback and on that backfield. And also, it would free him up in regards to coverage ability. Like it would make him a lot less responsible for everything. He's only responsible for a running back that releases outside to his side or a tight end if he's lined up with that tight end, right? If that's his coverage responsibility. And I think he can handle those things. He can handle a tight end if he's up on the line, and he can handle running backs out of the backfield. Where Jalen struggles, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, which I'm not. Where Jalen struggles is in space. If you put Jalen in space and ask him to chase wide receivers around or to change direction, play sideline to sideline, and you want to treat him like he's Ray Lewis, you're gonna see a good linebacker. He's good. He's not great doing that. He's good, and you're gonna have to take what comes with that. If you put Jalen on the outside, which you can't really consistently or full time in this defense because you have too many other guys that can only play out there.
Sure.
Jalen can play in the middle good, but he plays great outside. I really do believe that. When you see Jalen in every play that Jalen came downhill, I don't think they made a play with Jalen coming with blitzing or coming downhill versus the run. He didn't miss when he came down versus the run either.
Sure.
It's when he's taking steps backwards pre-snap or post-snap. His first two steps are backwards, and you let he kind of thinks if the ball's not going to his man, like on some of those screen passes, he'll be looking at the run, and then he has to read and assess what's happening right after that. And I think Jalen, and it's just honest, he relies more on athleticism than instinct, and he's one of those read it, see it, and go type of players. That's just what he is. He's a downhill thumper that wants to come down and bang. And because of that, just like when you have a safety that looks to hit first, like Jesse Bates or those guys, they're going to get themselves in a lot of trouble because they're looking to hit rather than read and assess, where they could get an interception if they were paying attention to that. And that's what they were thinking on.
Right.
But they're thinking about hitting first. And those hit first safeties are going to, are like those linebackers. If they bite, they're going to look bad when they bite. And when Jalen is back in space and he has to read and redirect, sort of like a quarterback changing his progression.
Sure.
We have to change his focus from his initial assignment to whatever's happening and then pursue and get there. You might see him struggle there every once in a while. That's just what it is. That's how he is. But I don't have a problem with Jalen, and those who are trying to beat him up.
Yeah.
It's unjust because Jalen played a good game in this game, and Jalen plays good every year. I think Jalen has trouble when teams know that he has trouble changing direction, and they game plan for that. So if that's the case, in certain instances, maybe you should have Jalen playing a little more zone and a little less man. Maybe that would help him.
Sure. Greg in the chat box says Malcolm Brown is average to below average running back. I don't think it was about the talent.
Has nothing to do with talent.
Sean McVay just listen.
He doesn't need a good running back.
That offense is built around putting linebackers in the wrong spot. Like, it's built around fooling your eyes. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about the talent. It could be Cam Akers tomorrow. It could be whoever, whenever.
It don't matter who in there.
It don't
matter. That's why they got rid of Todd Gurley, not because Gurley was bad. It's just like
they can win without him. They can win without him.
Yeah, we don't need a bona fide running back to win, and they let him sit on the bench to keep him fresh, so that he was trade material or whatever, But at the end of the day, they don't need a running back in that scheme. Some schemes don't, neither does Shanahan. He made Mostert looks like a beast over there. Why? Because you're not paying attention to the backfield against Sean McVay. You're paying attention to that jet sweep, and you better pay attention to the jet sweep. If you start paying attention if you hone in on any one thing, if you hone in on just their receivers and try to press them and bully them because they're small, they're going to bunch up on you, or they're going to jet sweep you. You're not going to be able to get hands on them pre-snap, right? If you pay attention to the run, you're going to key in on the run. Both of your defensive ends and linebackers key in on the run. He's going to kill you outside.
Right.
If you start spreading out and they key you outside, then they're going to kill you with those in-breaking routes inside. Like, he adjusts to everything you do. So you have to kind of play against Sean McVay. You have to kind of play like it's like chess, but you have to play kind of stagnant, where you're going to do the same things over and over again, and he's just going to have to choose between what you're giving him. You can't decide based off of what he's doing, because if you start playing that game trying to adjust to him, he's going to kill you. His his offense is designed to do that. So you're right. Like, I don't have a problem with Jalen and LVE. Any linebackers that you're asking to play in space and read and react a lot are going to have trouble with that team, because they have to freeze. They have to freeze or choose wrong. There's only two things you can do. You have to freeze and wait to see what they're going to do underneath you before you can react. Or you can just set the tone like we started doing in the second half and say, screw it, we're going to come get you.
Right.
And you decide what you want to do about that. You know what I mean? When we did that, Golf looked average.
Sure.
When we were sitting back trying to wait and freeze and see, let's try to outsmart Golf. You're not going to outsmart McVay because on the plays that you actually are successful on, we were successful stopping the run, chasing it backside a couple times. Both Jalen, Dorrance, D-Law, they did it a couple times in the beginning of the game. But guess what happened the very next play or the very next series?
Sure.
They would play against that. They would jet sweep in that direction. And now that D line, that D end that's looking, or the outside linebacker that's looking to come and play hero ball, so to speak, is now getting beat to the flat because he's not there on his assignment anymore. So they're paying attention to everything that you do if you over pursue. It's an offense designed to keep you honest and keep you patient. You know, teams like the Patriots that are older, more patient by default, have no problems against the Rams because they're already going to stay home anyway. You know what I mean? Young teams that want to fly around, they'll have trouble.
I think if we got to line up against the Rams again, we have a better idea of what to do with them now because like we kind of figured it out later on. And I think what we learned is once we take Sean McVay away, then they got to be players. And I think that we have the better players. But Sean just evened that shit up real nice.
Mad scientist, man.
Yeah. That's just a weird. I just think I think it was a good L to take, man. I think that was a really good L to take because we learned so much. And it's a brand new system that we got to learn how to navigate in. Now, the next few games, Falcons, Seahawks, Browns, Giants, Cardinals, it ain't gonna be a whole bunch of that mess. So it's gonna be up and down football. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
those are all vertical teams too. That's a good thing to pay attention to. They want to get upfield on you, and I think that plays in them when you talk about coaches and mad scientists. That plays into Nolan's hands. Nolan, his defense. I said this before the game. I still didn't get the footage out yet, but his defense is designed to push the ball here to the flats, short outside. That's where you can throw the ball against Nolan. And the Rams just were a good match. Styles make fights, and the Rams were a good matchup against that defense because that's where they want to go anyway. And that's the only place you can go against Nolan's defense because he takes away the middle of the field both versus the run and the pass. You're not really passing up the middle of the field too often against them. So again, the Falcons, I think that's a much better matchup because Matt Ryan, one, you can find him. Two, their run game is pretty good. I think Gurley is good, but I'm not worried about the run with this team. I think we can handle the run. Sure. I think what was hurting us was having to choose and having to think on your way to stopping the run, and I don't think we'll have to do that as much against the Falcons.
So moving forward to the Falcons or whatever, Anthony Brown will not be playing because he's on IR, so he's down for like 3 weeks or whatever.
Wow, what happened to him?
His rib or something like that. So, but Jordan Lewis is back though. So you think Jordan Lewis is going to be the nickel guy? Because I think Diggs earned this spot. I don't think Diggs is going anywhere. And if anything, we learned, and people have problems with our corners or whatever, but we learned that if the pass rush is right, we can get turnovers. We fine. We can force bad throws.
That's where they come from. Defense works hand in hand. If you show me a team with no pass rush,
right,
and a lot of turnovers, and I'll show you a super like Space Jam All-Star.
A super ass defense. Right.
They don't work that way. Pressure creates, pressure. That's what it creates. It creates turnovers.
Yeah.
But Jordan, this is what I'll tell you what I will want to see.
Jordan on the outside, Diggs on the outside, Cheeto in the damn nickel. I know man.
You
Relax,
know me so
man.
well. You know me so well,
Go
brother.
ahead, man. Tell them why. Tell the people why.
That's what I want to see because still, if you look front side, Cheeto, I don't know if they have the option or not. I believe they have an option to play off and the depth in which they play off because even when Cheeto and Diggs were both playing off, you could see Cheeto's depth was far greater than maybe 4 yards different on the opposite side of the field than even Diggs when Diggs was playing off. Diggs was playing maybe 5-6 yards off the ball. Cheeto was more like 10, 11 yards off the ball. And they were taking advantage of that underneath too because Cheeto wants to react. But the problem is Cheeto still will get into a back pedal while playing that far off.
Right. You
that far off and you still take 3 steps back. Now you 13 yards off the ball on a 3-yard route. You're not going to get there, bro. You know what I mean? Whereas you watch Diggs do it, Diggs doesn't take a step. When he's playing off, he trusts his speed. So he's just like, look, you can throw it underneath me. I'm here for it. And if this guy gets up on me, I'll turn and run when he gets here. I'm not going to bail early. Cheeto does that just off a habit. I don't know. He just does it. But if he's in the slot, he's closer to the ball and he's not asked to do as much. And I think a lot of those those instinctive plays that Anthony Brown was slowly missing on those misdirection sweep jet sweeps and so on. I
Sure.
think Cheeto closer to the ball I think he makes those plays. So does Jordan though. I don't think Jordan doesn't. I just think Jordan plays better coverage outside than Cheeto does, in my opinion.
Sure.
Cheeto's more comfortable playing off. When he presses, he does it well, but he just doesn't come down and do it enough. But when he presses, you don't beat him when he presses. He just doesn't press. And I think he has the option to not do it. And I think because of that, he elects to play all the way out there. And teams can take advantage of that. Jordan, you're not going to play with him underneath that often. And I think he's more comfortable being right up on your hip from the start to finish than Cheeto is.
Sure. That's fair enough. Yeah. Let me get into this real fast before we move on. Can't let my good people down, man. We got 435 people watching on my end. It could be more. But everybody just like the video and all that. Hit the sub and the bell so you know. Also, go check out Akoye Media. Like I said earlier, for the other 325 of y'all ass came in here, I was saying that if there's anybody that I trust on defense, Akoye Media is my trustworthy defense guy. So y'all go over there and watch him, man. His channel name is gonna be on the graphic up under his camera. But we had a $5 super from Tavis Banks. Appreciate you. He says Kellen Moore still not utilizing Tony. We'll do that on one of our offensive shows, or we'll do that in the the post game show tomorrow. We'll talk about that. And Ed from Atlanta, he says call-ins. If not, this is Ed from Atlanta. I know who you are. Y'all are gonna be fine because our defense gives up 5-yard completions every snap. We only win if Matt Ryan is 400 for 3 touchdowns. Akoye, this is the last thing we're going to talk about before I let you boogie, sir. So the Atlanta Falcons had 300-yard receivers last week. I think it was because it was probably like a lot of garbage time stuff. That's probably where most of the yards came from.
They were playing. Just expect that if we're up,
yeah,
don't expect this defense to be a top rank passing defense.
Sure.
The reason I say that, because if we're up, you're going to get a lot of that. We're going to have a lot of sacks, but you're going to see a lot of teams trying to push downfield. Yeah. But we're going to be good versus the run, because if our offense does what it's supposed to do, you're going to see again a repeat of what you saw last week with the Falcons versus Seattle. Seattle got up early, and then they, the Falcons abandoned the run. You saw Gurley over there biting his lip for most of the second half, and they were throwing the ball all crazy. So because of that, but they were able to push the ball upfield against that cover 3 or cover 1 that Seattle is kind of stubbornly playing. They won't really switch that up. And their safeties, I love both their safeties. Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams are very aggressive.
Sure.
So they were able to get a few upfield because of that. Those safeties kind of take over the middle of the field, and those corners are left outside deep. I think that plays into our hands. Nolan's defense, he usually runs cover 2 out. That's what type of look you'll see. Even if we're doing a robber and coming down, it looks like cover 2 most of the time, where our safeties are up high. One of them might roll down, but for the most of the time, pre-snap, they're up high, unless there's obvious running situations, right? But I think that plays right into our hands because of that. I think our corners are better at stopping things deep than short. I think that plays into our hands as far as our pass rush, because we have them. I don't care what you say about Law or any of them. Law can beat a one-on-one matchup at any time. So can Everson Griffith, who we didn't talk about playing 3 tech, but Everson Griffith playing 3 tech was a beat. I didn't know. I never saw him do that in Minnesota, but he was stout as a 3 tech pass rusher or run stopper in that game that we just saw. But you're not stopping these guys in obvious passing situations is what I mean. And if we can get up early, which I think we can, at home, hopefully against the Falcons, if we can get up early and get up more than 7 points, this game is blown out of the water. You're going to see a lopsided blowout because we're going to make them one-dimensional. If they come out balanced most of the game, might be a closer game, but I still think the things that Matt Ryan likes to do and the fact that he can't move around plays right into our hands. I don't think we lose this game this week. I think that the Falcons are tailor-made for us. At least offensively they are. Defensively, they have some stuff you might want to pay attention to, like Jarrett and Fowler and who's the other kid they have over there?
Ain't nobody else over there.
No, that dude, Tack McKinley.
Oh yeah, Tack. Yeah.
Tack's not great.
Yeah.
He plays a lot like I'm not disrespecting D-Law when I say this, but I mean he's like a battering ram up front.
Sure.
Attack is just coming. He doesn't have a lot of moves. He's just gonna barrel down on you. But yeah, that's what you're dealing with, man.
Yeah,
That's
man. I just think we gonna beat the shit out of the Falcons, dog.
there you go.
Y'all know how I
There you
feel,
go.
man.
Hey, quick. Yeah.
Y'all know my vibes, man.
Yeah.
Y'all know how I feel, Playboy. Listen, first of all, let me just say this to my chat box. Like, stop eating the cheese. Stop falling for stop getting baited so much. Don't let an Eagles fan come to your chat box talking crazy. You get a rock. They just lost to the Washington football Wizards. They just lost to the Washington football Wizards. I'm blaming y'all, Cowboy fans, that allowed them to do that. When they come in here talking that shit, y'all supposed to be like, oh, all right, cool, and just watch the show and be. They just lost to the Washington football. I shouldn't be addressing this.
Man, five trips to the red zone against against one of the best offensive-minded coaches in the league. 5 trips to the red zone, 20 points. That's all you got to say.
Why are we giving them attention, man? Chat box, we shouldn't even be looking at that. Anyway, somebody else in the chat that's a Cowboy fan, they was all like, yeah, we hyping our team up, we way too positive, we the type of friend that'll lie to you. D Shift, shouts out to you. Listen,
you're
man,
not a Cowboys fan, bro.
Listen,
that's
like this is analysis, right? This ain't me saying something Sunday and Monday. This is me. I've watched the film 8 times and I was like, you know what, we probably shouldn't be overreacting. We'll be fine.
Yeah, we talk like fans on Twitter, man. When we watching the game live on Twitter, and I'm on the game live on Twitter, I'm talking shit just like you are. I feel what you guys feel those days. That's why I don't like to go live at all after the game, because I know I'm going to say something I don't mean, because I can't see the film yet, so I don't know what's really happening. But you can't ask us to be fans when we're trying to analyze. Like, we're not fans. We can't go in there with that mindset, because that's not what it is. You just got to be honest and look at it. Anybody who does, and we respect those who handle it that way. Like, I respect Voch, because when I watch Voch's film, I'm not watching a guy who's just a fanboy. I'm not saying, oh man, he just like this dude. No. If he don't like you, he'll let it be known. If he like you and he like what you're doing out there, it's based on what he's watching, not based on what somebody said about him, or how much, how he felt about you not, drinking with him when he saw you at the bar or some shit. He don't care about that. What you doing on the film, and that's what I care about. So that's what you got to look for. But if you come here and you're down because you lost to a good team by 3 points, that was in the red zone 5 times, I don't know what else you want to say, though. Those are if you're losing those types of games, I would take that type of loss, because it's not an ass kicking, versus losing to a team that doesn't even know its identity, that you're up 17 points against and still lose. Like, that is a little different. So, and not even score another fucking point.
Right, right.
Come on.
But listen, let me just clean this up. D Shift ran to the chat box to address it. He said, "Wait a minute." He ran to the chat box, and he says, "Wait." He says, "I'm talking about fans who can't take constructive criticism." That he wasn't talking about us necessarily. So I apologize, but fam,
my bad, D. My bad,
fam, but you was walking like a duck. You was quacking like a duck. And listen, let me tell you something. Between me and my admins, there's a lot of weaponry over here.
Yeah, man.
Let me tell you. If we shoot ducks, you better not look like a damn goose or nothing, because
that's what we train for over here, man.
But my bad though, Akoye Media, I appreciate you, sir. Like I said, his name is right there on the situation. Akoye Media, plug the rest of your stuff. You do boxing, your Instagram, all that. Let them know where you find you.
I was a little sporadic the last month or so. I've been home, but been a little sporadic because we got a fight coming up tomorrow at 10 a.m. We driving down to Scranton. So, wish us luck for that. I got my guy going pro right after this fight, so I've been working with him a lot. But yeah, you can check me out here on YouTube under Akoye Media. Also IG, you'll see a lot more boxing stuff out there, because they strike me for everything boxing I put on here, so I don't do it. But I also have a film coming out right now for the secondary. I'm already finished. So tune in within the next 20, 30 minutes. It should be finished rendering and it'll be up. So check my page out in a second. Hit that notification button, and also thank Voch for always bigging me up. Voch, a dude just came to me last night because he said you sent him here. 100%. So I was like, Voch is my guy. And he's like, yeah, Voch just sent me here. I was like, that's what's up, man.
Listen, man,
I
I'm not
appreciate that.
doing this for no goof ass clout because I hate young people using the word clout. I dead ass think that the people are great. They need to be seen. You know what I mean? So when it come to Akoye media, man, breaking down that because that's all he gonna do. Like he gonna do some like listen, he gonna do some offense like if it's hot and like. But listen, even when he did the CD Lamb film session, right? He was like, hey man, but this kid from Kansas, Zer Kamara, y'all should watch him too.
I'm bored with offense, bro. Like offense, I gotta work on that though. But that's like the fan coming out of me because I'm a defensive minded person. So that's me kind of being that's my bias right there. And yours obviously is offense because you was a lineman. So you lean towards offense more. And that's also a nod to you because I don't like to be redundant. I usually like to fill a gap with something that's not really being talked about or something that's just general. And the way you handle the offensive line and the offense, I'll watch it and I feel satisfied. There's no question. Maybe I should start watching you as much before I do my assessment because I'll watch you and then I don't feel as excited about going to do the piece because it's been covered and it's nothing for me, nothing new for me to uncover. Like the CD Lamb video was dope. I don't need to go do another CD Lamb video like what I'm going to uncover that you didn't already uncover. You know what I mean? So that's why I don't do offense as much because you kind of handle it the right way. So that's like a nod to you as well.
Man, appreciate you, man. Humbling words. Law Nation's in the chat box. Shouts out to you. I saw Big Game James here earlier. D Shift say, Voch, know I bring the fire. I don't know you, man. Hey, y'all, we gonna hold it down for the Doski Woski.
I don't know you, man.
I holler at y'all, man. Peace. I'm playing around. Hey, look, tomorrow, Sunday, post-game show is gonna be directly as soon as the game is done. So that's like 3 o'clock or so. Come through, man. Peace.
Save a spot, man. I'll jump on.
There you go. Peace.
All right.